everybody, welcome to the garage. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Peter Clayton's with us behind the camera as usual. All is well in the world, except the world is moving too fast. I mean, Pete, I can't understand the days. They're flying past so quickly.
Yes.
I can't believe it's another week. I was sitting here just 2 minutes ago doing last week's program. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Now, maybe as you get older, the time goes past faster. Something's happening anyway. I know that. I found something that you might be interested in, Pete.
Yes.
Oh, I found this very sad. Very sad. Country pubs are calling last drinks across Australia. It puts me in mind of Slim Dusty's pub with no beer. There's nothing so sad, morbid or drear than to sit in the bar of a pub with no beer. But at least the pub was open. The Outback pub is as old as the nation itself, but in country towns across Australia, many are calling last drinks. Declining population and the cost of living are all taking their toll. In most Outback towns, you'll find once thriving pubs locked tight and their windows boarded. If the pub closes, the town usually dies. Leanne Stockdale, publican at the Royal Hotel in Grong Grong, said that. While some pubs are being repurposed, some once glorious facades are fading and are just memories. I think that's very sad. But, you know, you go around to a lot of pubs singing, don't you, Pete?
Well, yeah, I used to. I'm getting a bit too old for it now, but yes, yeah.
Yeah. It's a great Australian tradition. I hope that does not fade. But as life gets more expensive and more complicated, and indeed more dangerous in the big cities, why don't we think about moving to the regions? I had a wonderful time in Grafton, where I started out in radio in 1967. Lovely people, lovely town, beautiful town. Famous for its, well, if not its radio station, certainly its jacaranda trees. They have a festival every year. I might go up there before I die. One last time, have a look at the Jacaranda Festival. I'm not sure. It's around about Christmas time somewhere. Who is the administrator of the CFMEU? The new guy. I'm assuming it is a guy. What do we know about him? Why was he chosen? Does he have a union background? More to come, ladies and gentlemen. Here's something that you didn't know that you didn't know. Sadly, there were 323 drownings over the last 12 months. Most of them preventable. But here's the thing. There has never been a drowning when people swim between the flags. That's a tribute to their common sense, those people, and of course the wonderful work that the surf lifesavers do. And I got that tidbit from Dennis Walter, who does the evening show on 3AW. He was on my show, Around the Dining Room Table, jeremycordeaux.com, last Friday morning. He was a wonderful guest. Beautiful voice, fantastic voice, which is what radio should go back to, you know. Voices. Voices. You know, whether you're a singer or whether you're a broadcaster, the voice is important. Let's talk about the NDIS. I didn't want to, but then again, I thought I had to. No, I know I have to. The crooked NDIS, which costs more than the aged pension, about the same as the defence budget, and Aboriginal affairs. It's under the spotlight, and so it should be. I've never seen such unsupervised waste in my life. Was it designed to rip off the taxpayer? And why only now? Only now is the government doing something about it. And as the Minister, Bill Shorten, said, criminals are, not have been, are involved. Criminal activity. So this is known of at the highest levels. Yet, it has all happened under his watch. He said, today we introduce a plan to put the NDIS back on track. Well, sir, how did it get off the track? Why only now, when I and others have been talking about this for the last 10 years? It's a bit like the CFMEU, isn't it? I know nothing, didn't notice a thing, no. In truth, it was a bureaucratic bonanza for the crooks, the NDIS, from the very start. Thank you, Julia Gillard. The biggest pot of free public money in the history of this nation. Government sponsored. And by the way, it's been growing at about 20% a year. Now, you can't tell me that we have 20% more disabled people year on year. Where do they come from? This is nonsense. People suddenly discover they're disabled. The Libs are to blame as well. Because after the Rudd-Gillard-Rudd, oh God, that was an era, wasn't it? But after the Rudd-Gillard-Rudd era, they had, the Libs, an opportunity to scrap it or reshape it in a workable form or fashion. But no, stupid. It was designed for the permanent and severely disabled. That was the philosophical umbrella, if you like. Not naughty kids with developmental problems. Bill Shorten on Sunday, it was Insiders, I think, said this new agreement, after 10 years, mind you, a lot of debate in the House, is the new scaffolding. New scaffolding. They're the bones, you see. Didn't talk too much about the meat. The new scaffolding, which is going to pull back $14 billion over the next 4 years. But no one is going to jail. Criminals who have been defrauding the Commonwealth. Unregistered service providers, some, Bill admitted, don't even exist. Isn't that amazing? And they've got 400,000 separate transactions every single day. Bills that you and I have to pay each and every day. And according to the Minister, many of them are bogus. So we have been paying, according to the Minister, bogus accounts submitted by people who don't even exist. And no one is going to jail or has to repay the money he has rorted. This is totally disgraceful. It is worthy of a royal commission, isn't it? And you know, 400,000 people work for the NDIS. They're not short-staffed. There are only 600,000 people in the disability sector, the people they are there to help. It's almost one-on-one. And remember, all of this is on top of the disability support pension. I repeat, this thing still has the potential to bankrupt the country. I have to ask myself, serious question, why is Australia the only country in the world to have an NDIS? I suppose I could give you 42 billion reasons why, and each reason has a dollar sign in front of it. These people have got to get the boot. They really do. Self-funded retirees. Not a lot of encouragement for self-funded retirees these days. Anyway, self-funded retirees are going to pay more for nursing home care. That's the message. Look, if we can pay, if you can pay, I can pay. If we can look after ourselves, we should. But the message is not good. Don't succeed. You won't be rewarded. You will be penalised, disadvantaged. Now, I've heard it said that the wise thing to do is to spend up, enjoy your life, indulge yourself. Spend the kids' inheritance if you like. Get on the pension with all the benefits and perks as quick as possible. Own as little as possible. This should be the last thing in the world that any government should want. But that is what it is encouraging. Speaking of aged care, the Prime Minister said last week, I think I've got his words right, for aged care providers who do the wrong thing, there will be penalties, including jail time. Sir, why not say the same thing about the NDIS providers? Or is that because we wouldn't have enough prison space? Wouldn't have a place to put them all? It's a joke. I totally agree that we must protect our elderly. But like the NDIS, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. When you say that supervisors, management of nursing homes will be held personally and criminally responsible for everything that happens at the home, many people will simply leave the industry. How could they possibly be cognizant of everything that happens under the roof? And of course the insurance companies will dramatically lift nursing home insurance premiums, which will be reflected in the fees charged. Remember the law of unintended consequences, you idiots. God, and if you want a sort of a snapshot, a larger snapshot of all of this crap, have a look at California. Look what the Democrats have done to California. Just look at it. Must talk to you more about that. Maybe at the dining room table come Friday. I was going to say, if on the weekend you're looking for a beautiful place to go and have a quiet drink or a fantastic lunch or dinner, intimate romantic dinner for two, or maybe a celebration, wedding reception, anything at all, product launch, have a talk to Grant at the Rising Sun Inn. It has been named the best inn or pub in South Australia, which is fantastic. You can see the accolade. It's framed, and so it should be, on the wall in the bar. It's in Kensington. You can look it up, and you can read all the tributes that are there for one of our great sponsors, the Rising Sun Inn, Kensington, just off Kensington Road, not far from the city. In fact, it's very close to town, very close to everything, really. And we do thank them for their support for the Court of Public Opinion. I wanted to talk to you about honour-based killings as well. I didn't know, I never understood, let alone, of course, liked the idea, or could even accept the idea of honour-based killing. There's nothing honourable about killing someone. But apparently somebody's done the sums. Honour-based killings are costing Australian taxpayers $4 billion a year. Are we totally mad? If you are of this religion or faith, and you will kill people who marry or fall in love outside your parameters or religion or faith. Why are you here? You know that people are going to meet people outside that. You can't have a little tiny closed community where your kids are never going to meet anyone who's a Christian. This should be a fundamental question that should be put to every new entry into Australia. Am I right or wrong? Tell me on Friday, maybe. What's going on here? What's complicated? The veil and the hijab are symbols of sexism and misogyny. Women don't, at puberty, suddenly start wearing a veil. They are told to. However, one interesting thing has happened. I read that this practice is now totally rejected. I can't say totally rejected because there are still some women who practice it. But it's rejected by many women in Iran. And there they do it in fear of their lives, which tells me they take it very seriously. Have I got time? I saw this the other night. They haven't done anything for my house. They haven't done anything about my house. This is an Aboriginal resident of a house built by the taxpayers in the Kimberley, which admittedly is remote Australia, in the Kimberley in Western Australia. And there she stood with her mobile phone in her hand, demanding that the government do something, fix up my house, which looked like it hadn't had any maintenance in years. What about personal responsibility? Huh? If somebody gave me a free house, I'd treasure it. You get a free house, and then maybe you look after it, huh? Now, why I bring it up is Slater and Gordon, the legal people, you know, the no-win, no-fee people, they're fighting this legal case. The taxpayers of Australia are being sued for not maintaining these properties. How do you like them apples? Pete, what do you say?
It's just disgusting.
It's bizarre. Now, our mistake was providing the houses in the first place, if you ask me. But I have to ask, where does the $43 billion given to these people actually go? Not them, obviously. But not our problem. I'm sick of it. Aboriginal people live for, they keep telling me, 60,000 years without us, happily, without our money, our help, our education, our government, our housing. So what's wrong? You know, I would say get on with it. Get on with it. And oh, by the way, what's the difference between a lawyer and a rat? Pete?
I'm interested.
The difference between a lawyer and a rat. Well, there are some things that a rat just won't do. That will probably get me into trouble. Listen, I'll just say happy birthday and quickly leave you from the garage and the court of public opinion, and remind you to join us on Friday around the dining room table, where we have a stack of guests. It's the 27th. It is, yes, it is the 27th. Swedish engineer Gideon Sundback of Hoboken applies to patent an all-purpose zipper. Where would we be without the zipper? Buttons. Buttons, I suppose. That was 1913. 1883, Krakatoa, the world's mightiest explosion. Krakatoa volcano west of Java in Indonesia erupts with a force of 200 megatons of TNT and kills approximately 40,000 people. Doesn't tell me here how much greenhouse gas, methane, that pumped into our atmosphere, but I can tell you, quite a lot. It was 1883. 1979, the first Earl Mountbatten of Burma, cousin of Queen Elizabeth II, last Viceroy of India, is killed, along with his 3 companions, 2 of them children, by the IRA when his boat was blown up in Ireland in 1979. I remember that very well. The first hydrogen balloon flight, unmanned. Well, you know how volatile hydrogen is. Oh, they want to put it in your cars, by the way. But anyway, unmanned, reaches an altitude of 900 meters. 1783, that was. They didn't do a lot more with hydrogen back then, quite wisely. 1857, the first successful oil well is drilled. Wow. Near Titusville in Pennsylvania, Edward Drake was the driller. That's a good trivia question. Who drilled the first oil well? There you go. Edwin Drake was the answer. Rowland Hill, English inventor who introduced the first adhesive postage stamp, dies at 84. That was 1840. Ah. I wonder when the first postage stamp was issued. The penny dreadful or the black?
Yeah, the penny black.
Penny black, yeah. Kellogg, Bryan Pack. 60 nations agree to condemn recourse to war for the solution of international controversies. How did that work out, I wonder? 1928. Well, look, good luck to you. 60 nations agree to condemn the recourse to war as a solution for international... Dream on. Dream on. Charles Rolls, British aviator, auto manufacturer, and co-founder of Rolls-Royce, born in Berkeley Square in London, died 1910, born this day in 1887. Walt Disney's musical film, Mary Poppins, directed by Robert Stevenson, starring Julie Andrews, Dick Van Dyke, songs by Richard and Robert Sherman, premieres at the Grumman Chinese Theatre in Los Angeles, California, wins 5 Academy Awards. 1964. One for you, Pete. Donald Bradman, Australia's cricket batsman and captain, born in Cootamundra, Australia. He died in 2001, lived many of his years in Adelaide, but he was born this day in 1908. Barbara Bach, American actress, The Spy Who Loved Me, Force 10 from Navarone, born in Queens, New York, married Ringo Starr, nice looking lady too. 1947 was the year, a bit younger than me. The first international boat race. Oh, come on. The first international boat race, 1869. It was on the River Thames, and it was between Oxford and Harvard. 2 universities, English universities. That's not international. I think these people failed geography. Lyndon B. Johnson, 36th President of the United States, born Texas, 1908, died in 1973. Here's an interesting one. I'll leave you with this. 1941, World War II, the British Royal Navy captures the German U-boat U-570 on its maiden voyage. God, it was hardly ever used. It is reflagged HMS Graf and used by the British for nearly 2 years, much to the chagrin of Adolf Hitler. I didn't even take that around the block. He stole it. Good. Thank you so much for being with us, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back with more stuff tomorrow here in the garage, a posting, and Andy Martin will put it out as a podcast around the place. And of course on Friday, around the dining room table, jeremycordeaux.com, 9 to 12, where you can have your say about what you will. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Peter Clayton and I wish you well. Thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion, and believe in yourself.